What if I told you that some of the most ordinary products you use every single day could suddenly vanish from store shelves, and not in months, but in just a few weeks? That's not hype, it's already happening. Thanks to rising global demand, raw material shortages, and manufacturing slowdowns, several everyday essentials are about to become shockingly hard to find by July 2025. And we're not just talking about niche or seasonal items. We're talking about things you probably have in your kitchen, your closet, or your bathroom right now. In this video, we're breaking down 10 products that are quietly slipping into shortage mode. From pantry staples and home goods to surprisingly specific tools and tech, these items are about to disappear or see prices spike like crazy. And no, this isn't fear-mongering. This is what happens when demand outpaces supply too fast. So if you want to stay ahead of the next wave of out-of-stock signs and avoid paying double for things you actually need, stick around. We'll show you exactly what to grab now and why waiting could cost you. If you like staying one step ahead of the shortages, hit that subscribe button. We break it down so your wallet doesn't have to. Number 1. Ice makers and ice bags. You'd think ice would be the last thing to vanish in the middle of summer, but that's exactly what's happening. From portable countertop ice machines to those humble 10-pound bags you grab at the gas station, ice is quickly becoming a hot commodity, and yes, that's as ironic as it sounds. As of June 2025, supply chain bottlenecks, equipment breakdowns, and soaring demand from restaurants and event venues are creating what experts are calling a cooling crisis. That's not just a catchy headline some southern U.S. Cities have already reported 30–50% drops in commercial ice production, and with July's heat waves incoming, it's only going to get worse. The issue? Ice bags require more than just frozen water. You need food-grade plastic, commercial freezers, and consistent factory output, all of which are running behind. Add to that the rise in outdoor events, weddings, food truck festivals, and power outages due to grid stress, and suddenly, you've got millions of people all reaching for the same rapidly depleting resource. Then there's the portable ice maker angle. Brands like GE, Igloo, and Frigidaire are seeing delayed restocks and limited imports due to a semiconductor parts shortage. Retailers are already warning that mid-range models may be unavailable through August or sold at double the price on third-party sites. If you're someone who depends on ice, whether for daily hydration, medical needs, or outdoor events, now is the time to think ahead. Don't count on stores having bags in the freezer aisle when it's 100 degrees outside and everyone else is panic buying. Here's what you can do. Buy a reliable ice tray, set and stock your freezer early. Consider a quality, energy-efficient countertop ice maker while prices are still reasonable. Store pre-frozen water bottles as emergency cooling backups, because when it's 90+ degrees and the power's flickering, finding a bag of ice might be the coolest problem you didn't think you'd have. Number 2. USB wall chargers and power bricks. Here's something you probably use every single day, but by July 2025, it might be surprisingly hard to replace. Your basic USB wall charger or power brick. At first glance, this sounds ridiculous. These things are everywhere, right? But what most people don't realize is that a massive chunk of USB chargers, including fast charging adapters for iPhones, Androids, tablets, and smartwatches, are manufactured overseas, with parts sourced from a very tight supply chain. And right now, that chain is fraying fast. As of June 2025, electronics retailers are warning of import delays of up to 60 days on mid-range charging hardware due to disruptions in the Asian semiconductor market. Brands are prioritizing full devices like phones and tablets over accessories. That means fewer chargers making it to shelves, especially in generic and third-party categories. Even big-name manufacturers like Anker and Belkin are throttling certain models. Meanwhile, counterfeit knockoffs are flooding online markets, but many are poorly regulated, unreliable, or downright dangerous. So what's the play here? Stock up on 2 or 3 extra chargers for each device you regularly use. Invest in multi-port power hubs if you rely on multiple gadgets. Skip the dollar store chargers, they won't last and may fry your battery. Because when your phone's dead and your only charger just vanished behind the couch, good luck finding a decent replacement for under $30. Number 3. Reusable water bottles. Think reusable water bottles are safe from shortages? Think again. By July 2025, you may have a surprisingly hard time finding the insulated, leak-proof bottle you actually want, and not just because of hype. Here's the deal. The demand for reusable water bottles has skyrocketed in recent years. From students and gym goers to commuters and outdoor enthusiasts, everyone's ditching single-use plastic in favor of stainless steel or double-walled vacuum flasks. But with rising global demand comes a growing problem. The supply of raw stainless steel and the production capacity for insulated bottles can't keep up. As of June 2025, several top brands, including Hydro Flask, Stanley, and Yeti, are already reporting intermittent stockouts and back orders, especially on popular sizes and colors. And it's not just a US issue. Major retailers in Canada, Europe, and Australia are experiencing the same gaps. The problem isn't just the steel. It's also the insulation foam, rubberized seals, and manufacturing precision required to make a bottle that doesn't leak, sweat, or warp. Add in freight delays and priority given to higher margin goods, and suddenly your favorite $35 water bottle is either missing or marked up to $60. Worse, knockoff brands are stepping in with cheap imitations that look the same but fall apart fast. Poor insulation, leaky caps, weird metallic taste. Not exactly the kind of thing you want to rely on during a hike or power outage. So what can you do? Grab an extra bottle or two now, especially if you're planning summer travel, sports, or prepping. Stick to trusted brands. Real performance matters when hydration is on the line. Avoid the hype-driven color drops unless you want to pay triple on resale sites. Reusable bottles aren't just trendy, they're practical. But by midsummer, staying hydrated might come down to whether or not you planned ahead. Because when temps hit 100 and your tap water's warm, that beat-up old bottle is going to feel a lot more valuable. Number 4. Insect repellent and bug sprays. Mosquitoes don't care about shortages, but if you don't plan ahead, you'll definitely care about them this summer. Insect repellent and bug spray might seem like no-brainers on a camping list or backyard BBQ checklist, but by July 2025, you might be shocked to find those shelves empty. Here's why. Demand for insect repellents typically spikes as soon as the weather heats up. But this year, the supply can't keep up. The two biggest issues? A shortage of DEET, the active ingredient in most sprays, and packaging delays affecting aerosol and pump-based delivery systems. As of June 2025, multiple major brands, including Off, Cutter, and Repel, have issued warnings to retailers about limited availability due to raw chemical sourcing problems. DEET manufacturing relies heavily on specific chemical processes and international suppliers, many of which are currently operating at reduced capacity or shifting focus to agricultural clients instead of consumer goods. Add to that the growing popularity of outdoor recreation, hikes, camping, and backyard activities, and you've got a perfect storm of people needing bug spray, with less of it to go around. It's not just about comfort either. Mosquitoes and ticks are more than annoying, they carry disease. In 2024 alone, over 15,000 cases of mosquito-borne illnesses were reported in the US, according to the CDC. Insect protection isn't optional, it's personal safety. Here's what you should do now. Stock up on a couple of bottles before peak summer hits. Look for plant-based repellents, like oil of lemon eucalyptus, as alternatives if DEET is unavailable. Store sprays properly. High temps can degrade performance. And if you're thinking, I'll just grab some later, you might end up reaching for overpriced travel-size cans at the gas station while scratching your ankles raw. Don't wait until the bugs arrive to realize your repellent is MIA, because once they start biting, it's already too late. Number 5. Camping fuel, butane and propane canisters. If you're planning a camping trip, prepping a backup cooking setup, or just trying to enjoy a summer grill out, you might want to check your fuel supply right now. Camping fuel, especially small butane and 1-pound propane canisters, is heading toward a serious shortage by July 2025. And no, it's not just because of rising demand. The real issue is a bottleneck in refill stations, canister production, and valve components, all of which are slowing down deliveries across North America. As of June 2025, major outdoor retailers like REI and Bass Pro Shops have already limited purchases of certain fuel types, with signs posted warning of intermittent restocks. Propane distributors are prioritizing large tank refills over consumer-sized canisters, while butane is caught up in both shipping delays and price hikes due to overseas sourcing. Why does this matter? Because these fuel types aren't just for campers. Preppers use them as off-grid cooking sources, and urban dwellers rely on them for backup heating and boiling water during power outages. And just like in 2020, once panic buying kicks in, they're gone. Here's what you can do. Grab 2-3 spare canisters now while prices are still stable. Consider investing in a multi-fuel stove that runs on liquid fuels as a backup. Store canisters safely in cool, ventilated areas, because whether you're deep in the woods or stuck at home during a blackout, you're going to want a way to cook more than just cold beans. Number 6. LED light bulbs, certain wattages. LED light bulbs, the thing you only think about when one burns out. But by July 2025, you might be standing in the hardware aisle realizing your go-to bulbs are nowhere to be found. And no, it's not because people are panic buying. It's because the entire lighting market is in the middle of a silent transition and a slow-motion shortage. Here's what's happening. As of June 2025, new federal energy regulations are phasing out older, less efficient LED models. That's great for long-term savings, but terrible for short-term availability. Manufacturers are focusing on newer, smart models and high-efficiency standards, while older wattages like 40W and 60W equivalent non-dimmable bulbs are being quietly pulled from production. That means fewer of the basic bulbs most people use in everyday lamps, fixtures, and garages. The supply issue doesn't stop at policy. Chip shortages are still affecting smart LEDs, motion sensor lights, and color-changing bulbs. And packaging delays, particularly in blister pack plastic, are slowing down restocks even for generic models. Retailers are already reporting spot shortages, especially in multi-packs, and soft white finishes the exact type people buy in bulk. And here's the kicker. People don't keep backup bulbs. So when that hallway light finally dies, you'll head to the store expecting a $6 solution and leave empty-handed or forced into buying a $25 smart bulb you don't want or need. Here's how to stay lit. Stock up on standard wattages you use most often: soft white 2700K, 40W, 60W. Check compatibility if buying newer bulbs not all work with older dimmer switches. Avoid smart-only brands unless you're already in that ecosystem, because whether it's prepping for power outages or just trying to find your process, in the way to the fridge at 2 a.m., having the right bulb is something you don't want to realize you're missing after the lights go out. Number 7. Pool chemicals. If you've got a backyard pool, or even just a kiddie pool you top off during heat waves, listen up, because pool chemicals are about to make a quiet exit from store shelves this summer. And when they do, it won't just ruin your swim, it could turn your backyard into a health hazard. We're talking about chlorine tablets, shock treatments, and pH balancers, all of which are already showing signs of scarcity in major U.S. markets. As of June 2025, distributors are warning of limited availability and price increases of 25–40%, especially in southern and western states where pool use is at its peak. The problem started back in 2020 with factory fires and hasn't fully recovered. Add in the surge in home pool installations post-pandemic, plus supply chain lag from overseas manufacturers of key chemical compounds, and you've got a supply and demand imbalance that hits hardest right when temps hit 90+ degrees. But here's the real concern. When chlorine runs low, people start cutting corners using diluted products, skipping treatments, or turning to sketchy online alternatives. That's a recipe for algae blooms, unsafe bacteria levels, and in the worst cases, skin and eye irritations from unbalanced water chemistry. Even inflatable and above-ground pools aren't immune. People forget that any standing water over time becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes and bacteria unless treated properly. So what's the move? Buy your pool chemicals early, and if you can, grab a few months' supply now. Store in a cool, dry place away from kids or pets. Avoid unbranded online listings. Counterfeit chemicals can be dangerous or totally ineffective. It's easy to take clean pool water for granted until it turns green and murky overnight. Whether you're a weekend swimmer or using your pool to beat a summer blackout, don't let a chemical shortage shut you down. Because once July hits, finding the right treatment might mean driving to 5 stores and still coming up short. Number 8. Hair clippers and trimmers. You probably haven't thought much about your hair trimmer since the last time you used it, but by July 2025, you might wish you'd grabbed a backup. Hair clippers and electric grooming tools are facing an unexpected shortage this summer, and it's not just due to increased demand. It's a mix of supply chain lags, electronic component shortages, and a surprise seasonal spike in usage all hitting at once. As of June 2025, several mid-tier brands including Wall, Remington, and Panasonic have reported delays in fulfillment, particularly for cordless models and accessories like clipper guards, charging docks, and blade oil. And here's why that matters. Summer is prime time for shortcuts, home trims, travel grooming, and kids' back-to-school buzz cuts. With barbershop visits still pricey and appointment slots filling up weeks in advance, more people are opting for DIY haircuts, which is exactly what happened during the pandemic. The difference now? Retailers haven't stocked up fast enough, and manufacturing lines in parts of Southeast Asia are still running at partial capacity due to raw material bottlenecks. It's not just the devices either. Replacement parts like clipper blades, batteries, and chargers are increasingly hard to find unless you're willing to pay a premium or wait weeks for shipping. Even online giants like Amazon are seeing temporarily out of stock notices on popular models. And let's be honest, this isn't just about looking sharp. If you're prepping or trying to minimize your dependence on services, reliable personal grooming tools are part of self-sufficiency. Here's what to do. If your current clipper is aging or glitchy, replace it now. Not later stock up on extra blades, guards, and oil while they're cheap. Consider a corded model for backup. They're often more durable and less expensive. Because whether it's for hygiene, comfort, or just feeling human in the middle of a heat wave, the last thing you want is to be stuck with a dead trimmer and shaggy hair. Your grooming gear is only optional until it breaks, and then it becomes a problem. Number 9. Yeast and baking powder. Remember 2020, when bread making suddenly became everyone's hobby and yeast vanished from shelves overnight? Well, guess what? It might be happening again. By July 2025, basic baking ingredients like yeast and baking powder could be surprisingly hard to find. And this time, it's not about panic. It's about demand, heat, and production delays quietly stacking up behind the scenes. Let's break it down. Yeast is a living organism, and like anything biological, it doesn't tolerate extreme conditions well. Manufacturers are already reporting reduced yields due to temperature-sensitive production environments, especially during this hotter-than-average summer. And with heat waves pushing infrastructure to the edge, it's becoming harder to maintain consistent, large-scale output. On the baking powder side, the issue is ingredient sourcing. Baking powder relies on specific compounds like sodium acid pyrophosphate and monocalcium phosphate, which are currently facing global supply restrictions. That's because they're also used in industrial food processing and agriculture, and in 2025, manufacturers are prioritizing bulk contracts over retail packaging. As of June 2025, multiple grocery chains have quietly capped bulk orders of these two staples, while price trackers show a 20-30% increase over last summer's prices. Why should you care? Because these two ingredients are essential for making real food at home. From bread and muffins to pizza dough and pancakes, they're the lifeblood of DIY baking. And if prepping or cost-saving is part of your lifestyle, not having access to leavening agents limits your options fast. Here's what to do. Pick up an extra pack or two of yeast, store in the fridge or freezer. Keep an unopened can of baking powder in a cool, dry place. Learn to make DIY substitutes using baking soda plus acid, like lemon juice or cream of tartar. Because whether you're baking for comfort or survival, the last thing you want is to be ready to cook and realize your dough's going nowhere. Number 10. Feminine wipes and hygiene pads. It's not the flashiest product on this list, but it's easily one of the most important. Feminine hygiene supplies like pads, wipes, and liners are once again entering shortage territory. And this time, it's not just limited to niche brands, even the big names are feeling the squeeze. As of June 2025, several major manufacturers have issued quiet warnings to retailers about slowed production due to raw material delays. The biggest culprits? Cotton and polyethylene film, two critical components used in the absorbent core and leak-proof backing. Cotton is still recovering from drought-driven crop losses in parts of the US and India, while polyethylene shortages are affecting everything from packaging to hygiene products. That means fewer shipments, more stockouts, and you guessed it, higher prices. Some store-brand products have already seen a 15-20% increase since April, and with heat waves, outdoor travel, and festival season kicking in, demand is about to spike even harder through July. For women who rely on these products daily, a shortage doesn't just mean inconvenience. It can lead to serious discomfort, frustration, and reduced access to safe options. And don't assume alternatives like menstrual cups or period underwear are fully available either. Some of those same supply issues are affecting silicone-based goods and niche-absorbent fabrics. Here's how to get ahead of it. Stock up on a 1-2 month supply of the products you use most. Don't rely solely on store brands, diversify across a couple of known labels. Store wipes and pads in cool, dry places to maintain shelf life. And if you don't personally use these, Consider picking up a few packs anyway. They're one of the most requested and under-donated items in emergency shelters and disaster prep drives. Because when comfort, dignity, and health all depend on access to one item, running out isn't just inconvenient, it's unacceptable. There you have it, 10 everyday products you probably didn't expect to vanish, but that are slipping out of reach faster than anyone's talking about. And this isn't about panic, it's about preparation. From grooming gear to baking staples, bug spray to batteries, the message is clear. Shortages aren't always dramatic. Sometimes they're just frustratingly quiet. Until one day, you reach for what you need and it's not there. The good news? You've still got time. Most of these products are still available for now. But as July hits, the heat rises, demand spikes, and supply chains stretch thinner, smart shoppers will already have what they need. And everyone else? Left scrambling. So what can you do next? Check your shelves, grab backups of anything you use weekly, and most importantly, stay informed. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We break this stuff down weekly clearly, simply, no fluff. Hit like if you learned something new or spotted an item you already stocked up on. And let us know in the comments, which of these surprised you most? Stay ready, stay ahead, and we'll see you in the next one.